some of the questions that have been coming through on Facebook for ours, and one thing, I mean, how amazing that you're there for people at a time when ultimately people really need advice. I mean, it's so amazing. But my God, there were some complicated colour questions.
Don't ask if you don't want a question, because they will ask.
Like, I think it's great, but I mean, a lot of them was a bit like, I was like going down the list and I was like, I had my pen ready and it was a bit like tick, tick. It was like I'm dark, I've got grey roots, I want to go lighter, I might want to go green, I might want to go pink. I mean, such complicated colour equations.
Yeah.
I mean, the starting point for anything that feels a bit overwhelming or a big change, you've got to get expert advice.
100%.
You know,
and that's
like,
why I was like, God knows I'm no expert. Ask me and I'll ask the experts.
But I mean, it's whether it's going into your local salon, getting online, you know, we have online video consultations, getting in a forum, but those big colour questions, those big decisive moments where it's time to change, don't be alone, don't feel alone. You know, I think the blurring today of people going to salon, topping up at home, going to a salon, doing balayage or highlights twice a year, maintaining other things. I think all of that it's such a new landscape for us. It really is. So
what's the biggest like problem you find that people come in, and what's the biggest problem, like where either they've done something themselves at home and they've had like a green reaction, or is it breakage? Like if you color your hair, what's the biggest problem that you'll get if you don't take care of it?
I mean, the biggest problem starts way before the problem even starts. It's people don't know what hair color they are, or they don't know what base color they are. They don't know how much gray they've got. You know, they go into a salon maybe, or sit down, and then the hairdresser just gets on with it. There's a consultation, but like, you wouldn't know what your formulation was.
I don't need to know. It's called Mel.
And it's a bit like hieroglyphics.
So would I.
Yours is like hieroglyphics. It goes on and on and on and on. So for me, it's really about consultation. Before you ask the questions, figure it out. I don't know whether I suit warm or cool. I don't know how dark or light I am.
Yeah.
And also as well, having a really realistic expectation of what you can really do at home. Problems generally come because either somebody's got an idea but it's going to be something else and it isn't that, or the starting point, they're not sure what their starting point is. So you know, the roadmap, sorry to use that word, but the roadmap to get to the hair color that you want, you've got to understand where you're starting. And then all of the, you know, really common problems, kind of people go too dark. Everybody in the world thinks their hair's darker than it really is. So they go for a medium brown, and then they think, oh my God, my hair's black. Always go a shade lighter if you don't know. But and I guess the other thing is permanency. People don't really understand what a semi-permanent is, a gloss is. Should I use permanent? Should I? I'm scared to use permanent, but I want to cover my grey. Again, there's a lot of information online, or ask the hairdresser, but don't dive into permanence until you really understand that that's what you're trying to do.
And what is the difference between gloss, semi-permanent and permanent, please? Like, if I was going to attempt to do my route, which I'm not ever, if I was to go into or online or into you know, wherever a stock is, and go, right, what am I going to use to guess what color I would be in the Joshua range?
Well, you've got to look at the darkest piece of your hair to start with. Which
and is that
sometimes here,
like here,
like here or here.
Oh, right, that's really dark though. That's like grey.
But I mean, that would have been the colour that you were originally, that kind of darker, light brown, dark blonde kind of colour.
I was.
I would never use the word mousy with you.
Very dare you.
Just in case you clicked me off.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about working through when Mel looks at you, she's assessing how dark you are, how grey you are, how light you want to be, what tone do you want to be. So it's about trying to find out the basic things. How grey am I? How dark am I naturally? How light or dark do I want to go? What tone do I want to be? I mean, most people know all of these things because they're used to putting makeup on their face. You know, if you, if you put a bluish pink lipstick on, like a bluish fuchsia or an orange, one's going to suit you, one isn't.
Blue toned, please, over here.
Yeah.
No, orange is not for me. I look like I've just had me gob in a tin of tomato soup.
So it's the same with your hair. When you did your little Ronald McDonald hairline, it didn't suit you, did it?
No.
I mean, Caroline's never going to be a candidate for a copper gloss, is she?
No. But people do want to know about the difference between gloss, shade, shot, gloss, and shade shots.
Okay. All a bit confusing. All my fault. I'm trying to streamline. Basically, a gloss is a product that washes out. It's semi-permanent. If you are mixing two things together in a pot or a bowl, it's generally permanent because you're mixing an activator into the permanent hair color. So a gloss is a semi-permanent, it's a treatment product, and that will wash out.
Right.
It will not cover grey hair. Glosses and semi-permanents don't cover grey hair. They'll blend in a little bit, but they will not cover.
And that's the important thing, isn't it?
If you want to cover grey, you need a permanent hair colour. So, gloss is a semi-permanent product. Shade shot is a thing that you mix into the permanent hair colour, a bit like tanning drops or drops to personalise your base colour. The shade shot is a way that you add a personalised tone to your permanent hair colour.
Right.
Not complicated at all.
No, not at all. This is why I go to the experts, Mr. Wood. People are like, should I use? I'm like, I don't know. What about this? And I was doing this in my live, right? I went, what about this leads you to think I know anything about hair? God. Okay, I'm getting it. They're saying, thank you. I get it now. There we go. Right, there is lots of questions that I've had. I'm just going to carry on as if I'm interviewing you. I know I'm on your channel, but just to get out of the way for a sec. Oh, no, that's not attractive at all. Let's talk about breakage, damaged hair, loss of hair postpartum, things like that. And I know it's not like a clinic for hair loss, but just in general, people are asking how soon after can they colour their hair, things like that. So,
hair loss is a hot topic. There's lots of reasons for hair loss. Most people, in my experience, and when I've worked with trichologists, the hair doctors, most people think they're going much thinner than they are if they're quite grey on the hairline. Like where I'm really grey there, you can see my scalp.
Yeah.
And that's
I always think I'm going bald here, and I'm not. It's just that my hair's grey.
And then your hair's transparent.
Yeah.
So you're seeing your scalp. So it's not actually hair loss or thinning. It's the fact that white hair, grey hair is see-through and you can see the scalp. Yeah, after having a baby, the hairline generally sheds. I'm a great believer in very gentle hair colour to make hair look thicker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are techniques that we use in things like highlighting and baby lights and, keeping the hairline having contrast, a bit of light and a bit of dark. It's a bit like depth of field, like a photograph. Mm-hmm. You get the idea that there's a three-dimensional effect, so it makes the hair look and feel thicker.
Yeah.
But if you have got round circles of hair loss, very prominent hair loss, that's a thing for a doctor.
Yeah, proper alopecia.
You need blood tests. But yeah, most common shedding is either I'm grey and I see my scalp. People often say to me, oh my God, I look like a white mouse. And I'm a bit like, well, it's your hair's still there. It just needs colour in it if you don't want it to be transparent.
Okay. So there's other questions, things like traction alopecia.
Yeah.
In sort of Afro-Caribbean hair, and then hair loss after COVID. Have you heard anything about this, and is it common?
Stress can make hair shed. Again, it can be the fact that we've not had a haircut or coloured for a long period of time. So when you brush through and you look at the brush, if your hair's longer than it normally is, you're like, oh my God, I've got so much hair in the brush. It's just the fact that the hair's longer.
Right.
You know, I'm a great believer in, you know, people believe or don't believe, I'm a great believer in diet really helps hair. I mean, you know, people that are low in iron, have got a low protein diet, they can experience thinner hair. Traction alopecia, even tying your hair back really tight for a long period of time, gelling the hairline, I mean, it takes a lot to get traction alopecia.
Look, I haven't got alopecia, I've got breakage.
Yeah.
That's from buns.
That's from buns. Yeah. Buns, Huns, definitely.
Buns, Huns. I try to like not do it as tight these days. I'm trying to sort of do it so I don't have it quite so Mrs. Trunchbull. But when and then I let it dry, but when I want it out of my face, it's good to like just get it up. Then I keep seeing bits of breakage and I'm like, oh, you're going to get told off that and you can go back to the hairdresser. I
mean, breakage is very different from hair loss. Hair loss is coming out from the root.
Yeah.
Breakage is happening in the ends.
You've done it yourself, basically.
And it's generally mechanical damage. It's too much heat styling, pulling it back too tight, over colouring. You know, people that are colouring their roots a lot, you know, I mean, I've got clients that colour their roots every 10 days.
I could do that if I needed to, but I mean, Mel wouldn't let me, but I could do that. You know how quickly my roots grow. And it's HRT. Since I had HRT, the hair and the nails are like insane.
I wonder if there's a HRT for men, because I could do with a bit more here.
Well, to be honest, I'm annoyed that the HRT has done bugger all to fix my skin, but my hair and nails are flying.
But the skin's looking amazing.
Oh no, love, it's concealer, but thank you very much.
Really?
Yeah, thanks. I've been having like, look, see this? It's a big spot, hidden concealer.
Can't see it. Good concealer.
Big spot, hidden. People are like, you're going to stay grey. I'm like, no. No. Relaxing hair too often can cause, and basically we're all in agreement that, I'm just reading comments, we're all in agreement that stress and illness can cause hair loss. My mum has got lupus.
Right, yes.
And she is like, the minute lockdown is lifted, I'm bringing her to London and getting her good wigs, because it's the only thing she is completely obsessed with. She's managed to keep the lupus rash off her face.
Yeah.
But she's worried. And you can tell it's thinned a bit, but I don't. The way she, just like you said, the way she describes her hair, you'd think she was Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
She's not.
I mean, any hair loss is so traumatic for people, Caroline.
Yeah.
I mean, even normal shedding can give people a little bit of a shock when they've not brushed their hair for a couple of days and they brush through and then they notice it. It can be really it can be terrifying for people. But one fallacy is if you're colouring your hair very regularly to cover grey hair, so that's going darker. And when I say that, that's even blonde. Blonde roots can be darker than the grey hair, so that's adding colour. It's not bleaching out. In today's world, the chemicals that we use to colour grey hair, they're actually rather conditioning. I mean, I've developed a little product called a miracle shot that you actually add into the permanent hair colour. So it's working on the oxidation process as the colour's going into the hair. A deep conditioner's going into the hair as well. And there's also ingredients in there that stimulate the bulb of the hair, the follicle, to help stimulate hair growth. Good old scalp massage, good scrub. All of those things really do help.
I love my, when I worked, the first job I had in beauty was for Aveda. And everyone was, of course, obsessed with like the shampoo and all that sort of stuff. But I obviously got into the skincare. But what I've still used to this day is the Aveda paddle brush. That Aveda paddle brush, I think I've only had like 3 in 25 years.
Good investment.
They were 20 quid, 25 quid, and they're amazing. And you just do like one and it just takes the whole lot done, especially upside down. Like I love brushing my hair through upside. Oh, look, how very Marie Antoinette.
Oh. Somebody there just said, can they use the miracle shot without the colour? No. The miracle shot does not work without the technology.
To hold on to.
It needs to go into the permanent hair colour. Hair colour's forced inside the hair shaft of the hair. It piggybacks on top of the colour and gets sealed deeply inside the hair. So no shade shot without permanent hair colour. You can't even use it with a gloss. It has to be used. And we only sell it with the permanent colour kit. Oh, Marianne Faithful, is that you or me?
Oh, it's nothing to do with me. I think they might have been talking about my big hair. I was having a big moment with my hair. What do you think has been, do you find people have missed the most in terms of the coming into the atelier? Do you think they've missed nagging to their hairdresser?
Look, we all love a good gas. I mean, I love a good old chat. I mean, I think people that have been really struggling are people that have highlights or balayage, because you know, yes, there are airbrush sprays, there are root markers, but it's only a disguise. There isn't a permanent fix if you are trying to blend in highlighted or balayaged hair. So there's been and I'm working hard to formulate things that would address those problems, but it's not easy because you're talking about technique, and also as well, even on our online consultations that we do, I talk to the colorists probably most days, and they're like, people just want to connect and express and say, I think my hair's falling out, my ends are split, it's breaking up, I've gone orange, I've gone green, it's just about being heard and knowing that there's somebody there to listen and help you try to solve the problems.
Yeah, someone who cares.
Yeah.
Lots of people asking a couple of things. The most questions we've had are things like, can you show people how they could do their own at-home hair colour, roughly, and lead up to weddings? How they can best take care of their hair in a lead up to a wedding.
I mean,
and how do they book in with your online consultants? Everyone wants to know that too, but I imagine you can put all that in the description box after as well.
Absolutely. Quick fire. JoshuaColour.com. You can book a free colour consultation with one of my colorists. I've got YouTubes, I've got online on our platform. There are ways to show you how to colour hair permanently. I can't show you how to do balayage or highlights because we don't have a bleach product. I really think bleach
just
at home
wait
is a big
until you can get into a hairdresser.
Absolutely, very clear. And wedding, yeah, I mean, start a way out. Get the conversation 9 months ahead. If you want to change your hair color, you want to grow your hair, focus on condition, because ultimately at the end of the day, especially, when I'm working on photo shoots or on shows, quite often I'm mending the hair. I'm trying to repair the hair so it looks shiny and healthy. Somebody once said, when your hair looks really abundant and shiny and bouncy, it's a metaphor that the inside's, the well-being's good because the outside's looking incredibly robust.
So lots of questions about how they can get hold of your product worldwide, what your plans are for shipping and opening up internationally, if there are any.
We will answer all of those questions. I've been a bit blindsided, not on one side because of Brexit, but I'm pulling myself together on that point.
What an absolute shit show that was.
I mean, talk about adding complexity.
People think, I do think there's a certain element of customer or society that thought I was like overreacting and overselling how bad it was for business trying to ship to Europe. If John Lewis can't do it, how can I do it?
Yeah, I mean, I've really, my team have been amazing and we've worked a long way out. And of course, I'm on the executive board of the British Beauty Council. So those guys have been amazing at trying to help us. But we can't ship to Europe at the moment, but we're working hard on it. And there's lots of exciting plans about further expansion. I'm not finished. I'm going to conquer the world where this colour's concerned.
Of course.
I mean, come on.
Of
I've
course.
been doing it 30 years.
Mate. Don't. I do that face. When I say, oh, when did you start? I go, I was like 20-ish. And then I'm like, oh, no, it was way more than that. Best I just keep quiet and don't say anything. Well, now, lots of questions. Go on, you go first. What are you going to say?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I started hairdressing at 17, but it creeps at 18, 22. I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, and because I had my first job when I was 15, So I'm literally like 36 years in some form of retail, like working with people or customers, or because this is kind of what I do is like new retail. You know, I'm only doing what I've always done on the shop floor. I'm just doing it on Instagram.